At the base of your spine for urgings and sourcing, receive the Two of Swords. It's about the dual nature of conflicting but equal forces. They're contradictory burdens that have your head emotionally spinning. Even though the card is swords, it's still about emotions. She has her hands crossed in front of her heart chakra. Number 2 card indicates decision. And she's torn between these two forces that are paralyzing her heart and mind. It's like she's transcending into denial. The question is, are you being deceived or are you deceiving yourself? Are you ignoring blinding truths? This is causing an internal crisis that's prompting you to make a decision because you're feeling hurt and trapped and in the middle of some type of dilemma that is seeking a resolution. Now the clarification card is reinforcing a difficult decision because it's the Seven of Cups. Each cup holds its own imagined or real poison or pleasure. And you're wondering which one should you choose and which one should you lose? This is forcing you to analyze your level of happiness and sparking soul searching. Soul searching is a very painful exercise. It's also making you question what you really want in life and what will make you happy. Because you're feeling some kind of void that has to be filled. And it's also warning you to make a good and wise decision. But make a decision because some type of resolution has to happen here for you to go back into a comfort zone. Now up in the pelvic and sacrum, for your awakening and your arousing, receive the Wheel of Fortune. Your life is on an upswing. The fates of fortune are on your side, but I'm kind of feeling like some fortuitous event happened, but you didn't really recognize it when it happened. But as time went on, it started to explode into something that turned out very fortunate for you in your life. And you started to spiritually and physically grow. And the clarification card is the Seven of Wands, and it's saying, you succeeded, you're up on the hill, but you're battling these petty people below you. When you succeed, a lot of times people are jealous and envious. And they want to scrutinize you and find something wrong. So even though they're looking up at you, a lot of times they want to look down at you and find something wrong. And you seem to have to defend yourself. And this is one of the negative aspects of success and accomplishments. A lot of times the people you're battling weren't even willing to put the time and effort into success. Up in your solar plexus and your feeling and sensing, it's the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is kind of a fickle card, a strange card for a new beginnings, because you have the choice between healing and harming or kindness and malice. It's up to you and your free will to utilize things to your benefit and other people's benefit, because the sword can cut through the crap and get to the bottom of things, or it could be like the sickle of the Grim Reaper where it hurts people and it's a sharp, stabbing pains that you give people. But here in the clarification card is the Three of Pentacles. It's the Architect card. It's the building card. So you have the intentions of building. And I always think of this as a teamwork card where everybody's kind of on the same sheet of music. But here I'm kind of thinking that what's more prominent is that you've accumulated some skills, some talents maybe that you haven't utilized for a long time or never have utilized in certain ways. And now you're going to go forward using these talents. Now here in the heart of the matter, in the center, is the Ten of Pentacles. You're comfortable. It can even be considered the retirement card, but you've prospered. You're content. But it's not only prosperity there, it's posterity. Is that you're going to be handing things down to the other generations. And it's not only money or material things. A lot of times you become the master and the teacher of these younger people. And they then can pass on these talents that you're teaching them. But 10 is an ending and new beginning card. So now you're ending a cycle. Even when you retire, you end up picking up new hobbies and doing a lot of different things that you never did before. And this is reinforced also by the clarification card, which is the death card. You have a lot of things going on here, new beginnings. The death card is, transformation. And it's throwing out things that aren't serving you anymore. It's a rebirth. And you have to remember that change, is not your enemy. But if you resist change, there will be loss. And things happen for a reason, and the death card as well as the devil card are predestined cards. It's going to happen anyway. Even if you kick and scream, it's still going to happen. The death card is like a beacon to conclusions. And it's a freedom card. You're the phoenix rising from the egg-shaped ball of myrrh that went into flames. And it's transitioning you into a new chapter in your life. And that can be very cathartic. Now in the throat, what I'm calling communicating and teachings, receive the Chariot. The Chariot's a lot of different things. It's discipline and strength and willpower, but it's also of a spiritual evolution, seeking spiritual awakening. It's victory, overcoming opposition. It's confidence and control and self-control. You have to learn how to curb your desires. All of the cards from 0 up to the Chariot 7 are pretty much about the nature of man. And here this is really the apex of the nature of man, is that we have to discipline ourselves. We have to be able to have self-control. And confidence is a really big thing too, is because if you don't have confidence, sometimes there's worse consequences than making a bad decision. It's also a card of movement, moving forward. You're going away from material things and seeking more spiritual stuff, but it can also govern travel and modes of transportation. So keep that in mind for the remainder of the month. Now the clarification card is the Tower. A lot of things have happened. You've got endings and new beginnings written all over this, and decisions. And this Tower, to me, represents more of a release and divine forces bringing enlightenment from the lightning. We've all learned from our mistakes, and all of a sudden there's a sudden change in circumstances, and this could be you going from one unconscious level to a more conscious level. There's a lot of things going on with the Tower, but even if there was setbacks, which is anticipated in life, A lot of times setbacks make you rethink things and then you proceed with more confidence and you have more of a renewal and rebuilding happening. Now in the third eye, what I call seeing and envisioning, you see the Five of Wands. There's been conflict. We saw that even in the Seven of Wands by the Wheel of Fortune. There's always conflict in life, and you have to ameliorate this conflict. But the clarification card is the Four of Swords, and I find that is more emphasizing in my mind when I'm looking at this, because it's a respite from challenging difficulties, and you're in a retreat right now. And in the old and medieval days, the knights were required to buy their tomb before they went out on military campaigns, and here now the knight is laying on his own tomb wondering why he survived and other of his companions died. So it's a time out to look at things from a subjective view to a more objective view. Here in the Five of Wands, people were battling each other, and now he's wondering, was I right? Were they right? Or were we both kind of right and wrong? And he's reflecting and putting things in more of a perspective. When I see this card, many times I think about that. It's so funny that you understand people's motives, but you don't understand why people have these motives. And here too, the hatchet isn't buried. He's only in a respite, and he's got to go back out in life and discover his purpose of life. Now here in the crown, in what I consider knowing and understanding, receive the Empress, and I'm going to say the clarification card, the Emperor, because this is like the balance of yin and yang. You've got the Empress giving out her heartfelt emotions and nurturing nature, whereas the Emperor is balancing it out with his logical thinking. You can think of this as also Mother Earth and Father Time. And it's a harmony. And I think you've found some type of harmony in between making decisions and finding balance in your life. Over on the left is the Lover's card. It's a very good card for Pisces. You're a very sensitive sign. You make choices from the heart. And you're like deep water. It either hides turbulence or tranquility. And your life has had a lot of ups and downs, and there's been a lot of decisions that have caused turbulence and others that have caused tranquility. And all of these decisions have influenced your life and have really culminated into your beliefs and values and what's right and wrong, and knowing the consequences involved in making the wrong decisions. I think I have a lot of respect for Pisces. I have a very close relative that's a Pisces, and her quiet, unintrusive, remote manner attracts people. But the reason that they're attracted is because her beauty from within comes out, and they can see that. And I think that's a lot of Pisces are like that. But the Lover's card too is the spiritual versus physical. So Neptune rules Pisces, and a lot of times you can go into a dreamy nature. So you really have to make sure that you take your rose-colored glasses off when you're making decisions. And I think that's where sometimes in the past you've made some decisions in more of a fantasy dreamy world. But here in the future card, it's saying your feet are on the ground. You got the Three of Wands. You know, Three of Wands is motion, expansion, growth, planning, taking ideas and putting them into reality. So I think there's going to be a lot of good things coming, stable things between emotion and your material self. That's going to bring all this out because you're willing to do the work. You're going to be the architect. You're going to be the builder. Now the During Virtue card, messages from the angels, is patience. You see the name underneath the Death card in the center. Now is the time to learn, study, and gather information. Enjoy being a student because in the future you will synthesize your knowledge into action. And I see that too, is because there's been a lot of new beginnings, transformation. I got started doing this reading and I was going, what you know is the King of Swords and the clarification card is the Empress. And I thought, I've seen this before. And I went back to the March Pisces reading, and in the chakra crown, you received the Empress and the clarification card was the Emperor. Now I consider the King of Swords a minor arcana card that's a counterpart to the Emperor, so it's the same energy. It's just emphasizing the Empress and having the King of Swords in place of the Emperor. So I watched the whole video and I was surprised to see that all of the clarification cards that are in this mid-month reading for the Ides of March were also in the March reading. I thought this is just amazing. Tarot cards can be so amazing and you can't ever be surprised by them because they come up and give you the same messages all the time saying, hey, look at this again, just in case you missed it. So let's go back into the reading here and I'll start over again. Here at the top left card of what you know is the King of Swords. He is like the Emperor. He regulates his kingdom like the Emperor regulates his empire. And with swords, it's air and communication. But it's also overriding emotions and using logical thinking and organization and implementing laws to regulate this empire or kingdom. And the clarification card is the Empress, the nurturing mother, the mother of all, of material things, senses, fertility. In my March reading, I equated to yin and yang, or Mother Earth and Father Time. But what it was really indicating to you is it was bringing a harmony, and you understood that there was a harmony involved in this material, earthly aspect, because that's really what they are. Is once you get out of the magician and the high priestess, you're looking more at a material, earthly world that needs to be organized. You need love, and you need also boundaries and laws to regulate society. Then here in what can be or is yours is the Justice card. Once again, we're into society and how it's regulated. But then again, the Justice card can also be laws of the universe, bringing it down to earth, and also bringing punishments and rewards. Because a lot of our past actions are connected to our present state of affairs, or you can think of it that you're accountable for your past in light of the present circumstances. When you see the presence of the Justice card, a lot of times it indicates that something was out of balance or is going back into balance. Libra is always looking for that. And I'd like to point out maybe somebody in your life that's a Libra is an actor or being a prominent part of your life. I don't know. But the clarification card is the Seven of Wands. Once again, that was in the March reading. And it seems like here is that you did succeed, but you're defending your beliefs. You're defending what the Justice card has told you what is right and wrong. But you know, when you're defending something, there's a lot of resistance. People have the mindset of things that I don't want to change and I won't accept new ideas. It's kind of unbelievable that even people made it out of the medieval and Victorian times because it was so backwater to have these superstitious beliefs, but they continued for hundreds of years. And up on the top right, you receive the Six of Wands. You know, you can really consider this a victory out of competition or a contest, but I'm not really seeing it that way. And it's just that you're being honored. You're being honored maybe for representing your beliefs that you defended down in the Seven of Wands. That's connected to the Justice card. Even though people resisted, people are now saying, yes, you have the wreath of honor, and I think we kind of sort of understand. Now the clarification card, which was also in the March reading, is the Ace of Swords. This is a new beginning card that you have to be really careful with. Careful with your willpower. It's a two-edged sword of intellect that imposes justice or supports deceptive evil machinations. So you can relate this Ace of Swords back to the Justice card and also back to the King of Swords. The King of Swords has replaced his chainmail for the robe of justice because now he's replaced his horse also with a courtroom. The sword can be cutting or undercutting, and in a positive respects, it could be cutting through all the crap and getting to the heart of the matter. This card can be connected to the Emperor as well as the King of Swords, as I mentioned, but it's because of a lot of different things. It's because they both have control and offer some freedoms, challenges, logic over emotions, truth and justice, sudden change, inner strength, and they also regulate the element of air for communication. Now, as I said, the Ace of Swords can be undercutting, and here in the Future card you have the Devil. Disruptive desires, hedonism, avarice, selfishness. Is the Ace of Swords causing you to be your shadow self in some instances? Is there pitfalls in the decisions that you've been making? Are you facing your fears? Are your things getting out of hand? Did you make the wrong choices? This is what the Devil card is warning you right now. Not to undercut with the Ace of Swords, to regulate fairly with the King of Swords and the Justice card. It's also reminding you not to let things get out of hand for yourself and what's happening around you in your circumstances. So I pulled a clarification card, another one for the Future card, and you got the Four of Wands. It's a celebration card and you'll have success, but it's also saying to you that other people will help support you through some things, and you have to accept that. You need this support. And in the end, everybody's going to celebrate and have a good time and feel like they accomplished something.